His studio was actually the school where he worked. In the evenings and the weekends, he'd take me along with him. It wasn't long before I tired of using crayons and wanted to try some of the other tools that caught my attention. Welding I gravitated to at age 7. My father adjusted the regulators on the tanks, gave me some old coat hangers to cut up and bend, and I made a deer about this big out of those coat hangers. So I guess I got my start with recycling. But I want to bring to your attention this figurative piece. When my father passed away a couple of years ago, I was going through his supplies and found these 4 figures that were already plasma cut out. I thought it would be a shame to waste those, so I created this framework, and I called this group Moon Dancers. It's kind of a fun piece, and it depicts the feeling that he always encouraged when I created work. If there was one thing that he harped on, is put feeling into your work. And I think I've done this with his pieces. Each one is pretty dynamic because of the gesturing going on. But by putting them all together, putting in a setting, I think we've created something here that kind of represents the full facet of feeling. From everything from the softer emotions to the harsher struggle that mankind goes through when he tries to say something. So I hope all of my work expresses a feeling, but especially those feelings that make you smile. Getting involved in a family business, it allowed me to continue to cultivate the creativity. But the love of art and creating, it never left me. One day, after being out of the sculpting for probably 20 years, like Rip Van Winkle, I guess I was kind of asleep, someone said, you know, I remember your sculpture when you're younger, and I remember going to one of your art shows, and I would really like a metal fountain for my house, a copper fountain. And I thought, why not? It wasn't long after I created this fountain that I started exploring other things, creating standalone table sculptures and some wall sculptures. And one evening I was sitting at my favorite restaurant, happened to be named Foxfire, and it was owned by Jim Davis, the creator of Garfield the Cat. And I asked the waiter, I said, they have a lot of art in here. Do you think they would put some of my sculpture in here? Well, I sent him over some images, and to his surprise, he loved them. In fact, the first piece I brought in and hung on the wall, there was a bidding war between 3 people that worked at the restaurant. The chef actually ended up winning it. I was selling to the restaurant people as much as the clientele visiting. This was starting to stimulate or rekindle that love for sculpture that I experienced when I was only 7 years old, making my first little deer out of bent coat hangers. These are a couple of my early sculptures. This one's titled Pigtail Girl, and it's before I started powder coating my work. This one's a galvanized piece. It was made from some scrap metal pieces. Oftentimes I'll still get my inspiration for a piece from one piece of metal, and that just starts connecting together to create the final product. There's kind of a dolphin fish head up here, and face in here. You can see eyes and nose and mouth if you really stretch your imagination a little bit. But it's kind of a collection of feeling. Gives it a little bit of dynamics and motion with all the curving shapes and sweeping lines. So sometimes something like this just kind of takes a life of its own. It doesn't necessarily start out with a preconceived idea of what it's going to be. It's just a glimpse of it, and as I continue with the project, the whole body emerges. The fun thing about abstract art, it's something different to different people, and I enjoy stimulating that creativity. The time that we all had the first time we laid down on the grass and just imagined the clouds becoming something. When I walk along the marsh and see the clouds rolling by, I see the marsh grasses swaying in the wind. When I see the wildlife, the egrets and herring that we have, it inspires me to try to pick up on this feeling, this emotion, the serenity of the low country. It's a beautiful place, and I like to inspire that happy, enjoyable feeling. I want people to be comfortable with the art.